On visiting Robben Island in Nelson Mandela's former prison cell in April 2012. It's a number of years later. Today is Sunday, 22 February 2026, and here I, Tanis of Seattle, reflect on visiting Robben Island in the former prison cell of Nelson Mandela as part of my spring break in April 2012, when I was attending Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. So I put out I went in April 2012, took a bunch of pictures, and I made a vlog and published it Thursday, 19 February 2026. I'll link in the video description to that, along with my musing about prison settings playlist and study abroad in South Africa 2012 playlist that I was on. So I went to attended university with his own name, Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. And a few of my friends and I, we're on the spring break, but it was Easter break. And we went, it was approximately 3 April 2012. We went to Robben Island, which had a prison where Nelson Mandela was in prison for a number of years. And we went on a walking tour. Transportation to and from the island was via water ferry vessel, and there were waves. So it was there we go. And a reminder of some prisons were put on islands deliberately a little bit further from shore or with strong currents, so that prisoners couldn't escape the prison quite so easily anyway. So they could, but that doesn't mean they lived. And part of the reason for escape would be they lived. So there were a couple of takeaways. One was, let's see, I have some pictures, and there are pictures in the vlog I made. So one of the pictures is of a quarry where they actually had prisoners work, physical manual labor in quarries. I did a project, so this was April 2012, and we got a quarry is a place where materials and minerals are mined, and I did a project on solar energy and solar panels and stuff like that as part of my coursework while I was in South Africa, so back in first half of 2012. And I learned kind of that solar energy, it's like a lot of electronics and technology, in the sense of it does require certain components of it for the solar panel to work or whatever. It does require rare earth elements, rare earth minerals. And so I was like looking at that, I'm in the prison, I'm like, and the inmates aren't white. So essentially solar energy and solar panels and clean technology, electronics are, it's racist technology. It's, in addition to being environmentally dirty, it's person dirty, if none other than slave, turn Nelson Mandela into a slave for that solar panel. And I was like, at least we can find that in Africa. In the United States of America, that's muzzled, and that's still muzzled to date. That's how dirty it is over here. And then they had the prison cells, and so there's the standard cell. And then we were also shown Nelson Mandela's cell. It's a former cell, because not there. Some people would object. It's like they gave him a dog bowl, for food and stuff. And so that's the bed, a mat on the ground. He was looked at, he had 2 blankets. Oh my goodness. Right? And so I went in. It was an interesting one because I was there, and there was a little bit of it. So it was not necessarily the safest place in the world when I went, South Africa, and I lived in the Eastern Cape, which had pretty high crime rates. And it was interesting walking through it, because I was like, it didn't seem so random. So approximately that time I was raped in South Africa. And I was in the prison, and I was like, if I were raped while attending Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, as part of my, I'm attending university as part of my study abroad. If I ever, were to I was like, I thought of Cell Block Tango, I kid you not. And there's the woman in Cell Block Tango, it's a 2002 film, Chicago. And there's this woman who's like, if you pop that gum one more time, I'm gonna, end you. And the guy does, and so she kills the guy. And I was in that prison, and I was like, that's my outlook on rape. You come back, you asshole, I end you. And so if I killed my rape in self-defense, right? So it's if they come back, end it, because right, they can't, I can. I can try anyway, right? Just because I attempt to end something bad happening to me doesn't mean I'm successful. So if I was successful, I was like, I'm going to invoke, this is like a movie, Hollywood meets my real thought processes in relation to Nelson Mandela and invoking him. He's the only human being I've ever invoked as God. And it was like, I'm going to be Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, the guy with the tentacles. And they had like cut out his heart and put it in a box. And I was like, that's what, I'd be that guy. And approach to pulling it off physically. I would essentially go and defend myself to the end. I would end the rape from happening, self-defense, killing if need be, or I go down with my ship to the bottom of the sea, like Davy Jones with the tentacles in Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's all happening in the prison, and I was like, and at the moment, I was like, and if that happens while I'm here, and for whatever reason that sucker actually pursues me outside of Africa, for real, that's a self-defense killing, right? For real. Like they're actually stalking me on multiple continents. I was like, I invoke Nelson. Who am I killing for? I'm killing for Nelson Mandela, because if they rape me and I'm a student here at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, which I was, it's especially if it's a white guy, that's just about shaming Nelson Mandela, and I can't have that. So he's my God, and he's the reason why. In that moment, I was like, in that prison going, in this moment, I'm invoking for that moment. If it ever happens, then Nelson Mandela is my God, and I am killing for him. Out of honor and respect for the man, because let me guess, is my rapist white? And he was white, of German ancestral origins, maybe about 5'10" in height, a little bit stockier build, and an engineer. There we go. So this very much gave me stability in my life, and what turned out to be handling, possibly, some very bad stuff that happened to me. Nelson Mandela lives forever, for always, in my heart. So I was visiting Robben Island in Nelson Mandela's former prison cell in April 2012.